Habits. We hear about good habits in the productivity space incessantly. If you don't have good habits, you are literally gonna never be successful. No one's gonna ever love you. You're never gonna amount to anything. Your dad won't love you. Your mom's not gonna look at you anymore. You might as well be homeless because that's where you're gonna end up anyways. Thanks, Tim Ferriss. Now, don't get me wrong, habits are really good to build. There are countless benefits of daily meditation, supplements, exercise, dieting, going to sleep on time, waking up early, writing in your gratitude journal, having a morning routine, having a nighttime routine. You see the problem here? There are just so many good habits that we're told that we should build. And because of the vast number of choices that we have, you get overwhelmed. You don't know where to start or what habits are actually good for you. Because let's be honest, not all these habits are equally applicable to our individual lives. What's the point of knowing of any of these habits if you can't actually implement them into your daily disciplines? I want you to keep that in mind as I present to you this next concept. One that most, if not all people in the productivity space have heard of, the 80-20 rule, aka the Pareto principle. For those of you who don't know, this principle basically states that 80% of your results will come from 20% of your action. The common examples for this are 80% of your sales will come from 20% of your clients. 80% of your revenue will come from 20% of your products. 80% of your productivity will come from 20% of your tasks. Now, the 80-20 rule allows you to focus on those few handful of tasks that really produce the bulk of your results. That's something that I've been trying to internalize and incorporate into my productivity system hardcore recently. Just last week, my top task landed me $2,000 in only 17 hours of work. And as I've delved into it, I've realized that this principle is rarely ever talked about in the same sentence as habits. So can the 80-20 rule actually help us overcome the analysis paralysis we suffer when it comes to choosing which habits are most important to our daily disciplines? First, we have to realize that not all habits have the same impact on our lives. There's a clear difference between watching an extra hour of TV a day versus binge drinking every day. On the flip side, doing something like a daily exercise is going to have a much greater impact than simply flossing each day. What this means is that certain habits have a highly disproportionate effect on your productivity. I call these habits high impact habits. These habits have the biggest benefits and are the ones you should be prioritizing first. And they're not the same for everyone. We don't all have the same desires, wants, needs, or concerns, so it doesn't make sense to broadly generalize and say that we should all be doing X, Y, and Z. So rather than trying to broadly apply a habit to everyone, let's start with the individual problem that you are currently facing. What problem are you trying to solve with a good habit? For me, that's trying to get out of bed in the morning and start my day off with speed. I found that when I'm at my most productive, I'm able to get out of bed quickly, get ready, go to a coffee shop or my lounge as quickly as possible, and get immediately to work without any break in momentum. And those days are fantastic for what I can produce. The problem is that I tend to wake up groggy. Honestly, there are days when I spend like 2 hours in bed on my phone, just scrolling through absolute bull crap. And I knew this was an obvious problem, so I had to try to find some habits to get around this and see what works. So after some trial and error, here are the top 3 high impact habits that have helped me solve my problem. They were surprisingly quick, simple, and kind of ridiculous, and you'll see exactly what I mean in just a second. Okay, so high impact habit number 1. Putting in eye drops as soon as I open my eyes in the morning. Okay, so for the days where I'm really tired and I don't get my full 8 hours of sleep, it is very hard for me to keep my eyes open or even think about getting out of bed. For a long time, I thought that's just something that because I didn't have sleep, there's nothing I can really do. I wasn't really a coffee drinker and didn't want to have a dependency on caffeine to fix that. But what I didn't realize is that the biggest symptom that was stopping me from getting up and getting my day started was my eyes. Specifically, my dry eyes. Recently, I decided to use eye drops and found that once I do put in eye drops in the morning, my tiredness almost magically goes away. 90% of the problem was dry eyes. But once I realized I could be onto something here, I was all in. Every morning since then, I'll put some eye drops next to my table and pick them up and put them in as soon as I woke up. Now, this is not a habit that I thought would really have much of an impact, but clearly it has. All right, high impact habit number 2, taking a freezing cold shower in the morning. Now, this is something that other productivity gurus have recommended, and honestly, it works fantastically. I've been doing these cold showers for the last year and a half basically, and I've probably had less than a dozen warm showers in that time frame. And while that might sound insane, there is really nothing that can get my blood flowing, my alertness, my sharpness going in the morning than a really nice shower. Now, I still cringe at the idea of jumping into that cold water, feeling that discomfort, but honestly, once you say screw it and just jump in and don't let your mind think, you get adjusted to the cold temperatures pretty fast. And all it takes is really like a 2 to 3 minute shower to get the most benefit here. And once I'm out of there, I just feel so much better. There are days when I know that because I missed my shower, I'm not at my top performance. So even in the middle of my work, I'll stop and go take a shower because I know how effective it'll be in getting me out of that funk. Now, the third and final high impact habit I want to share with you today is a simple 10-minute walk outside. This could be right in the morning when you get up, or it could be at nighttime when you're going through a work session and you just need a mental break and a refresher to get some fresh air. When you're working on a computer inside for so many hours, your cognitive abilities start to wear out just from sheer fatigue. Walking outside solves this issue. A simple walk can get you to that fully alert state, especially when there's no showers available. I'll usually just walk around my apartment complex on a nice day. As long as you're getting some time away from your work and some fresh air, you're good to go. Now, here's a bonus high impact habit that I wanted to bring up, but didn't think was worth including in the main three. The ketogenic diet. Now, this is a diet that consists of high fats and very low carbs that's famous for being very effective in fat loss. Now, for me, that wasn't the primary driver of doing this diet for a year and a half. What really got me intrigued in this diet was this reported mental energy boost that you would receive throughout your day. Apparently, you wouldn't experience that late afternoon crash after work that I was so accustomed to before I started this diet. And it turned out to be true. Under the keto diet, I would always come home with just as much mental energy as I did when I started it. Now, I felt this very even-keeled energy throughout the day, which made it easier to be more productive. I also noticed that I can get away with sleeping only 6 hours a night and feel as well, if not better, with this new diet. And of course, the fat loss benefits were a nice added cherry on top. So why did I stop? See, because carbs aren't the greatest for you, they're pretty cheap. So when you switch to an oil-based, fat-based diet, you do see your grocery bills racking up pretty quick. At a certain point, the keto diet became a luxury for me, and it just didn't make sense in my current situation. So as of June 2019, I've stopped doing the keto diet. With that said, it is something that in the future I will definitely try to get back into. And I highly recommend doing your research on the keto diet for yourself if you're looking for similar benefits. Okay guys, these were the top high impact habits that I have for you today that I personally use in my life. Now, that's not to say that these are the only habits that I have going on for myself. Trust me, I do brush my teeth. But these are the ones I wanted to highlight to you to demonstrate that there are a handful of habits that you also have in your life that will produce similar types of high, disproportionate benefit. Let me know in the comments below, what are your top 3 high impact habits? And hopefully we can share some ideas with each other and see what's working well for other people. All right, well, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you for getting all the way through this video. I will catch you in the very next one. Peace.